We're live.
Hello, YouTube. Welcome.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for joining the Trash Talks live stream. If you're watching this pre-recorded, good for you. Thank you for watching anyway.
Yes.
Get the link out.
Yep. On it. Linking to Twitter. Which is awesome. I've really liked Twitter lately.
You've been going hard on Twitter. I've been appreciating it. I really enjoyed your deep dive into the owner of Len Blavinik.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about him. I actually I taught about him on the first day of this music industry 101 class that I'm teaching.
Yeah. I was trying to establish a solid connection between him and Epstein, and I couldn't find any, disappointingly.
You know what? Today when I was doing a Google search, you know how when you've done previous searches and so it guesses it, I realized I had already searched his name plus Epstein.
Len Blavinik. Every time there's some rich sicko, I always immediately Google search their name plus Epstein to see.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just like instinct at this point.
Yeah, we I got photos of him with Harvey Weinstein, so we're close. But no Epstein connection. I don't know if I searched for him with Ghislaine Maxwell.
The unexpected Ghislaine connection.
Yeah.
I think that if there's a Ghislaine, it'll usually pop up with the Epstein.
True.
The Harvey Weinstein is a nice consolation prize.
How much longer do you think before we just don't trust the algorithms?
Like I searched a rich person plus Epstein's name and Google's just hiding the truth from me.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, honestly, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've also, I think, I've been reading the postscripts on the Societies of Control like once a week for the past, 3 or 4 weeks, and
wise, a sort of praxis in itself.
Yeah.
Almost more like a religious praxis of revisiting the sacred texts.
Right, exactly. I was thinking, okay, next step, I just memorize this shit.
I can imagine you kneeling at some sort of Deleuze altar, just chanting the postscripts to the Society of Control.
And it's so crazy because I assigned it in my class this week, and I'm like, oh shit, this is now really fucking relevant. Yeah.
I'm amazed the class is still happening.
This is the last week.
All
right. I just posted all the links, so we're good to start recording.
Okay, ready?
You count it down.
On go. 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're back.
We are back.
We're back.
Coming to you live from the occupied nation state of Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Trash Talks.
Podcasting live from the war zone. I'm hearing helicopters, sirens, explosions, all that good stuff that you love to hear on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah, as I was telling Lana earlier off mic, the LA Convention Center is where they're staging the National Guard, and it's like a block and a half away from my house. So I'm just seeing transports and armored vehicles all day, and this morning when I looked out my window, the first thing I saw was 2 of them fueling up at the gas station on the corner. It's not good, folks. It doesn't feel nice.
Yeah, well, you just fucked up by telling everyone where you lived. Mistake number 1.
Well, the fans now have a radius. They can draw it around, draw a circle around the LA Convention Center on a map and go building to building trying to find me.
I'm increasingly sketched out about filling in my address for any kind of form. I even I went to the vet and they made me fill out a new patient form, and I turned it in and they're like, oh, it's missing your address. And I'm like, why do you need it?
What do you want to know? Who wants to know? Who wants to know?
Which yeah, we'll return to this theme. We'll circle back to that, but we just want to, well, how about you introduce yourself first, sir?
You can call me the trash dog. I don't have the spirits to make a proper introduction with jokes. This is a hard time. If you haven't been living under a rock, we are in the midst of a nationwide uprising against the forces of police violence and the reactionary white supremacist settler colony nation that is the United States.
I wish America would invade us and give us democracy.
Yeah, the joke that I've been seeing that's pretty good is if Antifa is actually a terrorist organization, why hasn't the CIA given us any money yet?
That's a good one. I like that. I haven't seen that.
Who are you, my lovely co-host?
Oh, I'm Lana. Just Lana. And that's it. And there's nothing else you need to know about me.
Just Lana, and don't ask any more questions.
Don't ask any more questions.
Keep it to your fucking self. Who the fuck wants to know? This is gonna be a tough one, a weird episode. Our hearts are broken by events. Let us begin by saying, of course, fuck the police. Black lives, they do in fact matter. And as always, death to America.
Yeah, we just wanted to start.
You're breaking up, honey.
And parties and teas and things. I'm gonna. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. Yeah, they're jamming the internet. Can you hear me now?
I don't know if they are. I think maybe your internet's just crappy, but who
knows? No. I really truly believe that they're jamming the internet. I don't know. I might just be becoming more and more of a paranoid schizophrenic.
A sort of signifying signifying structure for those Toulouse heads out there.
Yes. It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing to be a schizophrenic in that regard. Thank you. Okay, so we want to say fuck this country, fuck the anti-blackness that this country has been founded on, and God. There's just so many people I want to say fuck you to. This is hard. Fuck the corporations.
Fuck the corporations who are releasing their mealy-mouthed comments on it, statements on it. Fuck every spineless ass politician, all of the Pete Buttigiegs of the world who are throwing their little hat into the ring, but can fucking matrix dodge the phrase Black Lives Matter, matrix dodge the phrase. Oh my God, the mealy-mouthness, the double speak, something like officer-involved shooting, it makes me sick. It makes me sick to my fucking stomach.
Ew, are they really saying that for like Black people getting killed? They say officer-involved shooting?
Oh yeah, that's the go-to. How was he involved? Riddle me this, Batman. How was the officer involved exactly? Was he watching? What was he doing?
Oh, a big fuck you to everyone that's posting pictures of cops kneeling. Because you're literally playing into their hands. It's a fucking psyop. And if you wanted, I would say instead of posting a photo, instead of taking to social media and posting a photo of a cop kneeling, why don't you just go suck their dicks? Because that's actually taking some material action. And that's basically what you're doing by posting that photo.
Do not post the cops kneeling. It is the most blatant kind of lie. You can look at people who are on the ground in these cities, and usually within the hour of them doing this bullshit photo op of them kneeling, they are tear gassing people.
It's
45 minutes later. It's madness.
It's madness. Also, let's just they could have just fucking arrested the officers that were responsible for killing George Floyd, and that would probably have made the resistance not so strong, but instead they doubled down on all their racist, anti-black fucking bullshit, and here we
Well,
are.
it's the point of the larger point that the very institution of policing is rotten to its core. And one of the main reasons it is so rotten is because of the fact that it is designed to harbor and protect killer cops. The brotherhood of the badge, if you will.
I saw someone post about like remembering a dead cop, and it was from 2013. And it's like, you need to go that far back to find a dead cop versus the hundreds of people that died.
Versus between them killing George Floyd and now, they have already killed another man.
Multiple, no, not just one man, multiple. And I just saw that a child was killed in New York.
Was he killed by police or by vigilantes?
Yes, by the police.
There you go. The body count grows, my friends. We have much to discuss.
Lots of people are out there dying in the streets, and you know what? They've been dying. And I think it's also very important to state that this is not just about George Floyd. So to the white people that I've seen commenting on Facebook, making this about one black man, also, fuck you. Fuck
you. A big fuck you.
Yes. And of course, fuck you. We already said fuck you to the police, but we'll just say it one more time. Fuck you.
Yeah, so nice you say it twice. It bears repeating. Fuck you to the police. 1312.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll say this. If a cop was good, he wouldn't be kneeling. He would just not show up to work. It's called a strike. He would just not be a cop.
All right? He'd quit his job. Yeah, the only way to be a good cop is to quit
your job.
Stop being a cop. What is drawing you to it? What's keeping you there? You're like, I mean, I know that they make a slightly higher than average for like a public employee wage, but if you're not quitting over something like this, being asked to be turned on your fellow citizens, your own community, the only answer can be that you have some sort of pathological psyche, some problem, a draw to the violence, to the power. That is the benefit of the job.
Yeah, I would love to see some like conservatives maybe come up with a new cause that's like, you know, pay the cops. No, this would be totally a centrist cause. Pay the cops to quit their jobs and and give them, you know, some like
incentivize the cops. It's like the Dem thing of like giving new job training for people that used to be in like heavy industries, teaching them to code.
Yeah, just oh my god, yes.
Yeah, we have to teach cops to code so that they can get a real job.
Yeah, that's honestly.
You make me fucking sick, you worms.
Tech bros, I've seen your silence, okay? Like, do something. Go out there and either, like, if you're not gonna listen, tech bros, fuck you. Why fuck you? K-pop stans are literally doing more than you've ever done for anyone in your entire life. And someone should just burn the Bay Area, raise it, except for Oakland. Oakland can stay. Everything else.
That's two great big middle fingers to Silicon Valley and the tech industry. Your silence is violence. You make me sick, you worms. The live stream, you can see the double fingers. Watch our videos on YouTube.
The next fuck you, I would like to aim in the direction of Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, as always, fuck Nancy Pelosi, friend of the show.
Yeah, I had just happened to retweet a video of her that was taken during Ferguson. She was asked by the broadcaster if she believed in Black Lives Matter. She said, I believe in this sentiment, but I think all lives matter. So big fuck you to Nancy Pelosi.
Big old fuck you to Nancy Pelosi.
And fuck you to Joe Biden.
Ooh, extra special fuck you to Joe Biden.
For saying that cops should be shooting protesters in the legs instead of the face.
I know. It's been repeated a million times on Twitter, but what more perfect just encapsulation of the Democrat. The choice they give you is, what is our platform? Under the Democrats, instead of the cops shooting you in the chest, they'll just shoot you in the leg, buddy. Come on, Mac. Garbage. Absolute garbage.
Garbage. A special. We already said fuck you to the corporations, but we'll say a special fuck you to the music industry.
Yeah, most definitely. An industry basically built on Black talent, Black sweat, Black culture.
Yeah, and
Black exploitation.
Keep in mind that when you're given a record deal, you're basically given a loan on your own labor, and the interest that's paid back is that depending on your contract, but the record label and the publishing company you're associated with is going to take the majority of your profits. So, and we'll get into our friend Len later, who owns Warner Music Group, which is responsible for today's little Blackout Tuesday. The show must pause.
Technically, the blackout tile it comes from Atlantic, which is owned by Warner. Let's not spread false information here. We wouldn't want Mark Zuckerberg to flag the podcast.
Oh yeah, true.
God forbid.
Yeah, we can't forget about all those levels of mediation between these like subsidiaries, right?
I speak directly to you. Yeah, this the umbrella company, a sort of any other fuck yous before we get rolling?
I feel like I had some more, but they're not coming to mind now. But I will make sure to voice them as they come to mind. Before we go on, we want to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone all the protesters in the streets. Not to the MAGA people, you can fuck off.
To the Boogaloo boys and the right-wing infiltrators, kiss my ass and my anus. But to all of our street soldiers, all of our people showing up, putting bodies in that street, bless you. Big ups.
Yeah, big ups. And fuck you to the TV broadcasters who just like really sound like they're being paid by the police to say the dumbest shit.
I saw a side-by-side video comparison today that was like what CBS showed versus the full video, and it was that video of the NYPD driving into the crowd of protesters.
Mm-hmm.
And CBS, wouldn't you believe it, they cut it off right before the kind of acceleration into the crowd. It's almost like they're trying to create some sort of narrative.
It's almost like they're maybe owned by a subsidiary of I don't know, maybe like a Ukrainian oligarch. And I wish
Ukrainian oligarch, or possibly some kind of pedophile cabal.
Yeah.
I don't know, Hollywood sickos.
We'll get to the bottom of this. Viacom, CBS, I see you.
Yeah, don't worry, the eye watch is all.
And I just want to point out that NBC is owned by our man Len, which we'll talk about him later. But
NBC is owned by Len.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I misspoke. I get the evil overlords confused sometimes.
They're all just 3 letters. It's very confusing.
I know. NBC is actually owned by AT&T, which funds the cops. So.
Well, AT&T is under the subsidiary of Warner, also, isn't it?
Yeah, except this is where it gets confusing. Warner Music Group actually split off from Warner Media.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, we want to say thank you. So thank you to the people in the streets. And
thank you to the people who donate money.
Yes.
If you can't be in the streets, you gotta give that cash.
And make sure to distribute it around too, and be donating to I see a lot of people, especially the people that are being performative about this, just donating to the Minnesota Bail Fund, even now when there are mass, don't do that shit.
The Minneapolis one has, they raised something like $20 million, and they have come out saying, please don't give us any more money.
Exactly.
We don't know, we have too much, we've got too much. And the thing is, more than likely, there's a protest in your city. If you live in the United States, which means more than likely there is a bail fund in your city. Do an iota of research. I assure you, It is not that hard, just a tiny amount. Give locally, give to local organizations, find a local Black Lives Matter chapter. If you go to my Instagram, there's a resource in my bio that has a bunch of different links to different organizations that need donations right now.
I have the same link in my bio, but I might fully detonate the vest and just change my Instagram handle. I haven't decided yet. So
you should, though. It's time.
I think I'm on the verge. I archived everything and like deleted all my highlights today. So
time to call it Just Lana.
And then no, I'm like gonna take my name out of it. I think we'll see.
Yeah.
But I thought of another
Your
fuck you.
Your trash sister now.
Ooh, that's good. That's good branding. Yeah, trash sister Lana.
A big thank you, a big thumbs up to anyone that understands that the most important kind of solidarity is material solidarity. As much as symbolic solidarity can make you feel good, and there's some utility to it, I'm not going to completely shit on it. Sending information, spreading certain things. It's material or it's nothing, folks. It's the bodies in the streets or money in the bank.
Streets.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Well, money in the bank is a good substitute. If you can't get out there, send the money.
That's true. And then if you can also burn down a bank, then that's the best.
We can't advocate for that. We would never tell you to do anything illegal.
Oh.
We would never advocate for that.
Oh no. Yeah, I meant that as a joke.
Parody.
I would like to deliver another very special fuck you to the Chinese people who are saying all lives matter and where were you when we were experiencing COVID discrimination in America? You're so fucking clueless. Like, I am just done, and really, you can fuck off. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just so angry today. If you can't tell, this is therapeutic for me.
We've got some. Let's see. Who's a
thank you? So the next thank you, I want to thank you. I want to say a big, huge, heartfelt thank you to the K-pop community. Like, you are literally doing God's work right now, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
For what are they doing?
So our new very special friends, in the K-pop community, they are the foot soldiers on the cyber front of this war.
They're jamming police radios.
They're not jamming police radios. They're jamming snitching hotlines and snitching hashtags and snitching apps with their fan cams, and it's so awesome.
We love to see it.
It's so good.
If you want to do digital activism, start thinking a little beyond the black tile.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. This is one of my long-running theories. The internet, I am a materialist. I will always be a materialist, but the internet is a material place. It exists.
Yes.
There's a possibility of taking meaningful action online, but it is not posting. Posting is not meaningful action. I'm sorry.
Posting a black square, like literally if you've just posted a black square out of guilt and done nothing else, fuck you too.
Big fuck you to you. Your heart's in the right place. I don't want to say fuck you to you, and honestly, it hurts me. It hurts my heart to have to say fuck you to you, because I know you're trying your best, but you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah,
try a little harder.
Do
better.
To everyone that we're saying fuck you to, we want you to know that it's not too late to be on the right side of history.
Here's another very begrudging fuck you, a gentle fuck you, a fuck you. I think you can do better to white people who are saying that they don't want to go to the protests because they're too anxious, or they're nervous, or they're afraid. I know that years and years of tender queer discourse has convinced you that it's okay to be anxious, or it's okay to have these problems, and your feelings are very important. But I am sending a huge capital F, capital U, fuck you to your feelings. I want
to say that's not queer discourse. I'm going to just go ahead and call that liberal discourse.
Well, I wasn't saying queer discourse. I said tender queers.
Oh, okay, got it.
The space holders.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's very liberal discourse of self-care. If
Self-care. Oh, this is perfect. Self-care came out of why does self-care exist? You need to have self-care when after you come back from being in the streets and being like fighting for the cause, you know?
then you've earned a little self-care. Good for you. You've
How
done
about
great.
yeah,
We're so proud of you.
instead of posting a black square, you could read Audre Lorde, you could read James Baldwin, you could read a whole lot of shit.
I would like to recommend Frantz Fanon. I'm very much enjoying Black Skin, White Masks right now. Yeah, Audre Lorde. You can read Baldwin. You could read Settlers. Now's a great time.
I want to read that.
P. Newton. Spectacular. He had some great works. That's the kind of education that we need to be doing as the whites.
Yeah, and if you just like can't read a book, then there's plenty of good stuff you can watch on YouTube too, like symposiums. I watched a symposium about Black feminism yesterday that was really good. I posted it in the Twitter feed. And yeah, just educate yourself. Like honestly, if you're anxious, then a really good thing to do is educate yourself, and then you won't be anxious about being outed as a racist white person.
Think about how much more calm you'll feel when you don't have to have the anxiety hanging over you possibly being outed.
Just
and honestly,
thoughts, yeah.
again, I understand it is scary and it is hard, but the thing is, important things are scary and hard. It's not an excuse that you feel nervous. That doesn't give you an out. You're not going to self-care your way out of this one. You're just not. This is a rebellion. This is an uprising. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, gamers, we need you to rise up right now.
People have been saying gamers rise up for years. Let's see it. Let's see a little rising up.
Yeah, and shout out to Guitari Bot, who is a gamer and has been encouraging the gamers to rise up.
It's just the thing that we've been basically saying but not saying out loud is this is not just a protest. This is something more, because I am the first person to shit on a protest. I do not think very highly of them, because usually they're just thoroughly rooted in the symbolic. You know, you go out, you march around, not to specifically call it the Women's March, but the Women's March. You know, you go out, you walk around, it's toothless, and then you go home, and the only real thing that happens is now you feel better about yourself.
Right.
This is something else. The conditions are correct. Something is happening here. Something is in the air. There's a great Walt Whitman quote that says, "There's something rising in humanity now like the sap of the earth in spring." That's how I feel about this. And it's because the conditions are correct. What makes a movement, an effective movement, different from an ineffective one is the conditions we find ourselves in. And we have now what might be considered a sort of perfect storm, right? COVID has been going on for 2 months. Unemployment is close to 30%. It's people are out of work, and the government has shown itself to be completely ineffective and to not care about us. And who's the president? Donald fucking Trump. I think that's a huge difference that can't be overstressed. Ferguson happened under Obama. This is happening under Trump, and that changes things. It opens up possibilities. We are closer now to something meaningful than I think we ever have been in the United States history.
Gamers rise up.
Gamers rise up.
Yeah.
But you can't let the fire die out. It needs bodies and it needs money.
Yes. And it's hard because this fight is a fight against anti-Blackness, which I think that most people don't realize, that the police state is very much intertwined with the banks and corporations.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the whole thing, right? Is like modern policing as a force, it grew out of these private militias, because it's hard to think from this contemporary vantage point, but we're always trying to historicize things here. That's one of the projects for this podcast, right? And it's hard to imagine from our current vantage point, but modern policing only goes back a few hundred years. Like the modern police force was invented in France in the 1700s, and it's very tied to the fact that there was a lot of revolutionary upheaval. At the time, rich people, people with money, would hire private security forces. Merchants would hire private security forces to mind their property. These private security forces are what grew into the modern police force in France, and other police forces around the world are all modeled after that original model. In the United States specifically, there's an extra racist edge because our contemporary police force grew out of not just these private militias that defended property, but specifically people who hunted slaves, escaped slaves to be returned to the people who owned them. Property is intertwined with policing, modern policing. It is an institution that is designed only to protect property, not to protect people, not to help people.
And, you know, it really shows when people get mad about looting, because that means that it like exposes your entire value system. If you're more angry about looting than you are about Black people getting fucking murdered by the police for no reason for so long, and that's just the tip of the iceberg too. Like, if you're not mad about that, then like really think about why that is, why property is more valuable to you than human life.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not just essential to policing as an institution. Property as the significant thing, you know, as the main focus, is intertwined with America as a country, or even just as an ideological position of Americanism. It's easy to forget that at the beginning of this country, you were only allowed to vote if you owned property.
Wow, yeah.
Rights to property go back to Locke. They go back to a lot of the philosophers that defined modernism, that defined the sets of ideals that became enshrined in the Constitution and a lot of other liberal constitutions around the world, is this ideology of freedom for people who own property, the freedom to own property, the freedom for property owners. For a very long time, the people who didn't literally own property weren't given a voice. And we really have not come that far from that. Not that much has really changed.
I also really want to just like do a shout out to the native population as well, because let's also not forget that this country was literally robbed and taken from people that were already here, and then they were systematically murdered and then, you know, resettled onto places that white people found disposable.
Like people who unfortunately for themselves did not have the same legalistic ideology of property as the white folk, and thus whose claims to the land was not recognized by us.
It's insane.
The
like,
myth
yeah,
of a frontier to be settled, a wide open prairie that belongs to no one.
I just like have been thinking also a lot about how Manhattan was bought for, what is it? Like, what's the story that we
Was it a few beads? Isn't that the
yeah, like a few beads and like $24 or something like that. So yeah, I don't want to hear from any Chinese people talking about COVID discrimination. All right, shut the fuck up.
You shouldn't say too much about the Chinese. It's gonna come off sounding a little weird because people don't know you've been embroiled with them.
I know. I love my Chinese brothers and like and
a
sisters.
little context. Lana's embroiled in an online
No,
Chinese rap community.
No. Yeah, no. That's not even that's not even it. What I'm fucking pissed about is people on Weibo using the N-word, and people on WeChat making fun of Black people for looting, saying that they're poor and messy and that they deserve to be arrested and killed by the police. So that's what I'm mad about. Has little to do with other shit. So yeah. Anyways, sorry to derail us there. Can we go back to the thank yous? Because I want to.
Do you have any more thank yous? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have at least two more. I want to say thank you to our brothers and sisters around the world who are also rising up. And
in other countries, London,
yeah,
France,
Paris, yeah. Even in Syria, they're like spray painting George Floyd's name on buildings and shit. It's awesome. We love to see it.
You truly love to see it.
Oh, also in Tokyo, they're protesting. Like, yeah.
Let's give a thank you to the hacktivists. Anonymous is back. They're good again.
That was
They've decided to stop being racist. That's fun.
That was my third one, is thank you to Anonymous. I was in China for a really long time, so I missed like basically everything that happened with Anonymous before. So this is my first experience being acquainted with them, and I'm just fucking loving it. So thank you.
They're doing great work.
That's
the internet is materialism, my friends.
Exactly. So I really think that this is a war that's being waged on multiple fronts, and I think that the cyber war, okay, because we're living now in what our patron saint of the pod, Deleuze, calls the societies of control. We have to be so careful with surveillance, and like everything is being surveilled. But the thing is that surveillance goes both ways. And so what Anonymous is doing is they are helping us to surveil the ones who are doing the surveilling. And so it's kind of like a reverse power flow.
We can only hope, right? Because God forbid. That's a little thing is a little just quick note. Even platforms like Signal, Discord, WeChat, they're sold as secure, but they're not.
They're not.
They're a little more secure than if you just use text messages or if you were like in Twitter DMs. But there's a reason they've been promoted as the go-to organizing platforms. And it's because someone has the key, and I think it's perhaps the CIA.
Signal was funded by the Department of Defense, right? Or
something like that.
Yeah.
Just save it for face-to-face. Don't organize over any platform. Only organize face-to-face. Never share incriminating information on any platform. The internet is forever, my friends.
Yeah, tech bros, like, really fucking get to work already. We need you.
Facebook has all of those DMs that you sent back in 2012. They have them. They're in a file somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
It never goes away.
Biggest fucking fuck you to Mark Zuckerberg, fucking pedophile motherfucker.
Allegedly.
Well, you can say that on Facebook because they're not responsible for any fact checking whatsoever. So if you can say on Facebook that he's a pedophile, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it right here too. He's a fucking pedophile. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, fact check this one, Marky Mark.
Yeah, fact check my dick, Mark Zuckerberg. How about that?
Yeah, protect and service my dick and balls, dick shit.
Yeah, de-escalate on his dick.
Yeah, why don't you? Oh, fuck, that got me just right.
I've never seen you so disarmed by a joke before.
Back it up, de-escalate
it. Woo!
We truly love to see it. I'm sorry, I'm a little giddy. I'm a little punch drunk. I've been anxious all day. My heart's been in my throat, but I'm 3 beers deep and I feel great. We have a world to win.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the war too. So like, it's important to just. I think I feel a little bit scared. I don't want to get my hopes up too quickly. I don't know.
I mean, I think that this might not be it, but it's certainly a step towards it, and it's a very important step.
Also,
I mean, Donnie Deals himself was hiding in a bunker underneath the White House.
Yeah, bunker boy, bitch.
Bunker boy, bitch. He was
little
scared.
Bunker bitch. Little bunker
bitch was hiding scared.
Oh, did we?
That's a sign that something's happening.
Did we forget to say fuck you to Donald Trump?
Ooh.
I think it was implied, so we forgot, but we
got
can't.
2 primo middle fingers for Donnie Deals.
4.
4. Up your ass with broken glass, you dumbass.
Wow. God. Ooh, yeah.
His fucking like PR walk to the church, and then he shook that giant Bible at the audience for a while, and then walked back. And he needed the police to clear everyone out beforehand with tear gas because he was scared. So he needed them to clear him out with tear gas before he could leave his little bunker.
Yeah, I'm like, so many ideas are coming to mind. It's like, you saw my Twitter thread, I think, from the other day when I started like imagining like a future or whatever, because all this shit is so crazy. And I think it's really important to imagine a future.
Yes, I agree. We need imagination now. It's very important.
It's so important because a lot of this anti-Blackness too is so rooted in capitalism, and we all know
they're so enmeshed. They're like a net. Capitalism, poverty, anti-Blackness. It's all so intertwined that it's impossible to peel it apart.
Black people literally started off as property in this country, so like, come on now, like, wake the fuck up.
Given that we've already said that it was a country that was founded on giving rights only to the people who owned property, God forbid if you yourself were considered property under the law. Imagine where you fall in this whole hierarchy.
Also, seriously, everyone go to ADOS101.com, like, read some shit. It's really quick, and you'll be like, oh shit, like, this is real. American descendants of slavery, like, at the time when slavery was happening, like before abolition, on ADOS's website, it says that the value of all the entire enslaved population was greater than every single asset in the country combined, including all the railroads and everything. So yeah. So reparations need to happen too, and big fuck you to capitalism. And anyways, I went on a little digression. The point is Mark Fisher, RIP, wrote a great book called Capitalist Realism, Is There No Alternative? And the basic thesis of the book is that the biggest obstacle in overcoming capitalism is not being able to imagine a future alternative. So it's very important also, while we're doing all of this work right now, to also do the work of imagining future possibilities and alternatives.
It's truly hard. It's truly, truly difficult. But new futures must be born. And they'll be born with Black leadership, with Indigenous leadership. Turn to them, watch them. That goes double for when you're actually on the ground, my fellow whites. Is these protests, as much as they involve things that involve all of us, these particular ones are not about you. Watch. Be willing to be led. It's hard when you've been told you're the protagonist of history, but be willing to be led. You are a soldier, not a general.
Yeah, on that point, on that tip, Black history is American history, okay? It should not be, and it will no longer be relegated to 1 month. Learn history, y'all, okay?
Learn history, it's a weapon.
Yeah, and I say that because at the protest that I went to in Long Beach over the weekend, I saw a white girl holding up a protest sign that was a quote by Thomas Jefferson. So make sure that you understand the historical context, please.
Damn, fucking Lin-Manuel Miranda should be in jail for what he's done.
I'm sorry, I'm ignorant on that tip. So
he wrote Hamilton.
Oh yeah, I've just stayed so clear from that fucking
poisoning the lib mind.
Woo! Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So This has been a very invigorating sort of struggle session, a nice sort of fuck yous and thank yous as we move towards what is perhaps the third and final act of the American Empire. Do you have any more before we turn to our main topic of discussion?
None that I can.
Social media portrayal.
None that I can think of right now.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
We cleared a full 45 minutes just getting steamed.
It's important. Maybe good self-care is to call up your homies and just start saying "fuck you" to each other, oriented towards the people that deserve it.
I'm sorry, this is less podcast, more some of just us unburdening ourselves, because I feel great. Now I feel a lot better.
Good, yay.
So what I wanted to discuss this episode is, I think, maybe one of the mission statements of the pod, something that we're trying to do more than other people, is to think about narrative, think about the day-to-day myths, think about the stories we tell ourselves and how they affect things in the world, which may seem a little strange considering I was claimed earlier that I'm a Marxist materialist. I read a great quote today about how only material beats material, but theory becomes material when it grabs hold of the spirit of the masses. Ideologies,
is that
narratives, that is dialectics, my friend. Stories have a material force when they create action. And something in particular that I would like to talk about with regard to this uprising, this revolt, this rebellion, is the ways that it's being colored and portrayed via social media, how we are interacting with it through mediation, and how that's affecting not just our ideas about it, but the material reality of the protests themselves. Any opening remarks, Lana?
Continue, I'm listening.
So something that I've noticed with this, that I've noticed with a lot of things, is the images that we're shown have a power to create ideas, stories, and we can't help but be bent around these understandings that are sort of presented to us. And so many of them have risen up around this particular thing. Information gets spread. You see a video, right? You see a picture of something in particular. And to a degree, what this has really shown is the sort of Tahrir Square thing, that social media has become very useful to this movement, right? To this action. That information about protests can be shared very quickly. Information about movements of the police, counter movements of the forces of state oppression are documented. And also the fact that you can see videos of police cruelty, police brutality, violence. You can encounter narratives that counteract things that the mainstream might ignore or even try and actively hide or cover up. But at the same time, it leaves possibilities for toxic narratives. And the one that has really caught my eye that I really want to talk about is the myth of the outside. The myth of the outsider.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two distinct flavors of this that I've really seen, a left wing and a right wing of the myth of the outsider. Is that, if you're watching the video at home, you can see my mime training really coming into the fore as I illustrate my points through hand motions. The myth of the outside is a very recognizable psychological formation. I'm going to put on my Lacan hat here. It creates a place to vent and to also fail to recognize. It's almost like a blinder that stops you from seeing. What am I talking about when I say the myth of the outside? I'm talking about a specific narrative that the actions of these protests, of these uprisings that could be considered more confrontational or more actively dangerous are not internal to the thing, right? They're the force of some outside. And if you're listening to this show, I'm going to guess you're probably a good little liberal or leftist. The one that I'm sure you've become very familiar with at this point is people pushing the narrative of the white anarchist, right? Oh, no. This protest, this movement is peaceful. The only reason that looting, that property destruction, that violence has been coming out is because of outside influence. These white anarchists are
Big
coming
other.
in. Yeah, well, this is a little other actually.
Little other. Okay.
Yeah, it's ironic that it's also a racialized other. This is not particular to this, but there's it creates these formations, this myth of, and it helps you break out this story of legitimate and illegitimate, right? There's a legitimate wing of this movement and an illegitimate. The legitimate is the peaceful, the nice, the one that doesn't make me feel scared or uncomfortable in any way. The illegitimate is the looters, the people who are causing trouble. And you know what? If you can put a label on that wing, the people that make you feel uncomfortable, because as we have told you, not just the police, not just the country, but you yourself, dear listener, have been inculcated with the cult of property.
Yeah.
You are uncomfortable when you see property destroyed. Instead of having to contend with the fact that this is a movement of legitimate anger, bubbling up and boiling like a pot of water and exploding in real rage and material rage and attacks on property, you can suddenly post a little post-it note on it that says white anarchist, illegitimate.
And then you can grow a pair.
Well, this myth, it's weird for like so many reasons, and one of them being that it like, because it's if you've been on the ground, it's not true. There's not just like some contingent of white anarchists that are the ones causing all of the trouble. Like,
it's that same divide and conquer bullshit, trying to racialize people and divide them by race, and say, say that, it would, the implicit understanding there is that Black and white people and Asian people and brown people wouldn't come together to collectively loot a fucking corporation that deserves to be looted, okay?
Yeah, I think that's the main point, is I think for one thing, it comes from a position of thinking that looting is illegitimate.
Yes.
And that's something I want to really bring attention to on this, is when you're looking at narratives of these things, pay attention to conversations about legitimate and illegitimate.
Yeah.
Who is being served by those narratives? Because I think that legitimate and illegitimate falls into comfort and discomfort. There is a reason that in school you were taught about MLK, but you were not taught about Malcolm X. You were not taught about the Black Panthers, because you were purposely educated in a thing that is comfortable, and a thing that is, I would dare say, more or less ineffective.
Also, that whole like dichotomy, I think, between the two of them is also a false narrative. It's not one or the other, and they're not opposite. And MLK wasn't entirely about peaceful protests. And when the fuck did we ever see Malcolm X commit violence? Okay, so fuck you to that narrative, and fuck you to the people that believe that narrative.
Exactly, because that's one of my main points. Is now is the time we must return to Hegel. We must think about Mao Zedong. Contradictions are inherent. The hardest thing to wrap your head around is something that when you say it out loud is so simple, but you don't think about it until you say it, which is that a movement has contradictions, but that doesn't make it any less of a movement. It's inevitable. Some Black people are going to want to destroy property. Some Black people are going to want to protect it. Some white people are going to want to destroy property. Some white people are going to want to protect it. That's just the way it is. There's not going to be one unified approach to tactics unless there's some sort of army-like organization. This is a horizontal grassroots movement. It's spontaneous. Contradictions are going to arise.
It's not. I don't even think that's contradictions. I think. Well, I mean, maybe from a certain. Okay. How I see it is actually the same sort of liberal kind of racism that divides any kind of action by race.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's there. I think that's part of it, is this weird like racial dividing thing.
That like all white people,
of solidarity.
All white people are doing this, all black people are doing that, and like, you know, they would never come together. And also, I'm just gonna throw this out there at the same time, white people should pay attention to the differences within the black community too, because there is a difference between American descendants of slaves and African immigrants and Islander immigrants. Because if you also pay attention to the discourse, you'll notice that people like Virgil Abloh, who is from an immigrant family, has a completely different reaction and response to this movement than other people. So, and a lot of the black people that have been getting canceled on Twitter are Islanders and immigrants from Africa. So pay attention to that too.
I think there is like, that's part of it, is there's this like liberal, very well-meaning racism. You know, they're very well-meaning liberals, but there's this specific kind of racism where they think that black opinion is a totality.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's no contradictions within blackness. They see, there was that video that was going around that I saw a lot, that it's the black woman filming it, and she's filming the two scrawny white anarchists spray painting, and she's saying like, this is not what this movement is about. This is not what and the thing about it is a white liberal likes to watch that and be like, yeah, see, that's not what the movement's about. She said, and she's a black woman, so she knows. And the thing is, this is hard to wrap your head around if you're a racist, is she is not the president of black people. She is just one black voice among many black voices. And while her opinion is valid and it's a tactical discussion of whether looting is useful or not, I personally think it is. People are free to disagree with me on that. It's a tactical discussion. She is not, it's not a homogenous voice. It's not univocal. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be contradictions. It's inevitable. And the reason is because black people are human. Everyone is human. Any community of humans is going to have disagreements and contradictions.
Yeah, and as a human, everyone will have good takes and bad takes.
And so that's the first weird, the outsider. The second thing about the myth of the
hold on. I want to make one more comment on that before we move forward, which is that sort of propaganda is actually a very good psyop for the movement, though, because I feel like as long as we can convince maybe some centrists to like get some centrist support by like having contradictions that maybe maybe it is the contradictions that bring the movement together in that way.
Yeah, well, I think that what's important for a modern movement is to embrace contradiction as an inevitability. We can't pretend that it doesn't exist because it's never not going to exist.
I'm just saying it's good because I think that a lot of people are like down for the cause because they think it's like entirely peaceful. And some people are down for the cause because they want to see the cop cars burn, you know? And so maybe the contradictions like
they can have both.
Bring people together.
Well, it's definitely very tricky because that's the tricky thing is you are walking a sort of a tightrope, right? Because the right wing of this thing is like the racist white right winger who sees people looting and is like, oh, like look at these animals destroying their own communities, da 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 da. And so maybe there is this sort of like negation of that narrative that becomes the white outsider anarchist. It's like, no, it's not black people looting, destroying their own communities. It's this other thing. It's actually the black people were all peaceful. It's only white people who were causing trouble. And it's the thing is that negation, it's understandable in the discourse, but it's not helpful because what my second point about it is, it's weirdly infantilizing. It's this weird infantilizing discourse where it's like, oh, the black people were just trying to be peaceful. They were just trying to march. And then the mean old whites came and they tricked them. The cops came and they tricked them into being violent. And it's like, no, people are angry. Black people are angry. White people are angry. People are fucking angry at this system. And in a system built on property, sometimes looting is the only fucking way to get your voice heard, to make people listen to you. Because God damn it, when they tried to kneel in the goddamn NFL, it was said, Colin Kaepernick, it was said that it wasn't valid. And so, like, you know what? They love a peaceful protest. The people in power, they love a peaceful protest. You know why? Because it disperses anger. They're afraid of looting. They're afraid of property destruction because it's actually important. I don't want to get too ideological with my own shit. I'm just trying to present these narratives and help you think through these things a little bit more. But I think that maybe it's the only valid form of protest. You want to talk about valid and invalid?
Yeah, so actually,
I would never encourage you to commit a crime. Don't commit a crime.
Yeah, crimes are bad. We are a completely 100% legally valid. We've never broken a law on this podcast.
This is an anti-crimes podcast.
We're against committing crimes. But okay, so to go back to your point about contradictions, I think this is very interesting. Actually, you're making me think new things. Seen through the lens of societies of control, I think that if you're unable to actually pin something down, that means your movement is actually is evading being pinned down by any sort of identity. And I think that's really good, because as soon as the enemy and the society's control, as soon as the enemy can identify you, as soon as they can put their finger on exactly who is at fault here, then you're fucked. And so what Trump is attempting to do is to make an identity, to make a specific identity that he can put his finger on, and that's Antifa.
Yeah. And which is a perfect, fantastical imaginary enemy, because it doesn't really exist.
Also, what are they gonna do? Throw a milkshake in your face? Like, come on.
It's also just like, if you want to, I mean, it's extremely dangerous, the fact that they've qualified Antifa as terrorists.
It's scary as fuck.
Because anyone can be Antifa.
It's scary as fuck, yeah.
And let me tell you a little something. The United States has some ways of dealing with terrorists that are not nice people, not nice. And if suddenly anyone can be labeled as Antifa, because Antifa doesn't actually exist in a meaningful sense, it's a tactic, not an organization. Anyone is now subject to these sort of extrajudicial things, which is a very bad. I don't like I'm scared. I am scared. I know I told everyone to be brave at the beginning. I'm scared. Who knows? The United States is extremely powerful. It has one of the most powerful militaries in the world. But it's the only way. This is the only way.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, it's scary. It's scary, but at the same time that it's scary, like that fear just makes me think of the fear that Black people feel every day living in this country, and also the fear of all of the fucking countries that I'm not going to say we, that the US has invaded.
Well, I mean, you might as well say we, because they did it in our name, and we do enjoy the benefits.
I no longer want to associate myself with this country. Can I?
I mean, yeah, that is something to think about. That's a really good point, because seeing like the Humvees and stuff outside of my window, it's like, this is the daily experience times 10 of someone in Iraq, someone in Mosul, someone in Afghanistan.
Yo, and they say that China is like on some fucking whatever
authoritarian shit.
Yeah, authoritarian shit. Fuck that. I lived in China for 5 years. The most peaceful 5 years of my life, all right?
I want to know some real horse shit. There was a vote in the House of Representatives during the beginning of the Hong Kong protests that it made it illegal to continue exporting tear gas to the Hong Kong police, because we deemed it because it is a war crime to use chemical weapons.
Thank
We
you.
could not actually use tear gas against an enemy combatant because they're protected under the Geneva Convention, but it's perfectly legal for us to use it against our own citizens.
Yes, and rubber bullets are not made of rubber entirely. It actually has a bullet inside it, and it's not been made to shoot at people's faces.
Yeah, they're designed. They're supposed to shoot them at the ground, and they bounce up and hit on the legs. And even then, it still can like snap your fucking leg in half. But instead of aiming it at the ground, they're shooting them point blank at people's heads.
I saw a black girl who literally got shot point blank by a rubber bullet, has a giant chunk out of her head. Like,
yeah, I see it.
people,
I saw a
journalists,
dude whose eye had to get fucking
yep,
cut out.
and a journal. I know I saw a journalist, a female journalist who got her. She lost an eye as well. We both know because we were together when your girlfriend received a message from her journalist friend that she had her hands up and was holding up her press pass saying, "I'm a journalist," and she got shot with rubber bullets. And
they very clearly are targeting journalists.
Yes, and they're arresting them too.
That's what's so wild about this is the police are having a bonanza. They're loving this. They're going crazy, and they're enjoying every minute of it because this is the kind of mindset, the kind of personality that's drawn to police work. They love it. They love it. They hate everyone that's not police, and they have a huge persecution complex. They're so scared. They're these little cowards. They think everyone in the world is against them, and they think they have such a hard job. You know, I had a job that was more dangerous than police. You want to know it's tied for number one, the two most dangerous jobs in the world.
Was it when you were on a boat doing boatsman work or whatever?
Deep sea fishermen and loggers tied for number one, most dangerous jobs. You know where police is? It ranks about 13th. Did I ask for any kind of respect when I was a fucking deep sea fisherman? No. I just did my goddamn job. But no, they want free coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, and they want everyone to kiss their fucking little dicks just because they like put their asses on the line for the community. And it's like, guess what, bitch? Garbage men have a more dangerous job than you. That's not even fake. More garbage men die every year than police. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Let's pour one out for the garbage men. Honestly, respect.
Nothing but respect. I know we've talked about it on the show literally before because I love garbage men. Fucking
me too.
So much more important to the function of society than a cop.
Yeah, try and get your trash not picked up for a week versus police not here for a week. See what the difference is there, okay?
It's like there's that great Nick Mullen tweet that's like, yeah, everyone's anti-police now, but wait till you get robbed. Who's gonna show up 6 hours late and shrug 6 hours later and shrug their shoulders?
Yes.
It's like, please, fuck off. But anyway, I want to wrap up my myth of the outside thing just by saying, the idea of white anarchist outside agitators is the other side of the coin of the right-wing Soros conspiracy. That the only reason these protests are getting rough is because you just replace the word paid anarchists with white anarchists, and it's the same thing. Paid anarchists by George Soros.
The right wing or the conservatives think that they're being paid?
This is an old one. It goes all the way back to Ferguson.
Oh,
the Soros checks, remember?
I was in China. I was in China for so much of like the past decade that I'm actually not so great on American politics. But
here's something very important to keep in mind is while I'm talking about this, it's not to say that there are not insiders to the movement. Police infiltrators exist. Agent provocateurs exist. They're real. But the main thing that they do, their whole thing is when they're on the ground, they try and encourage people to get into situations that are dangerous for themselves so that they can get arrested. They're not steering the protest. And it's so invalidating to say that the only reason anything violent or anything significant happened is because of police. Like, that's so invalidating. But at the same time, two caveats. One, when you're on the ground, do be cautious, because outside agitators do exist. They're not white anarchists, but they exist. And the other caveat is, like I said earlier, white people, this is not your moment. I know that we're mad too, and we want to get out, and maybe we do want to smash shit and fuck shit up. But think about where the backlash of that will fall. Watch, have guidance, be led. Now it's not your moment.
Listen, and keep your third eye wide the fuck open.
Keep your third eye way open. We watch and we see, baby.
I also was gonna say, after going to Long Beach and marching for a few hours, I think what I noticed is that this movement is also seems very generational. And I don't know if that's a result of COVID. I don't think it is, actually. I think that millennials and Zoomers are just fucking pissed off. And we realize that we've been completely fucked by the system, that we're never going to own property.
Oh, shit. My Zoom is dead.
Oh, no.
And I don't know when it died.
Oh, shit.
Whoopsie daisy.
Oh, no. Well, that's okay. Maybe, let's see. What is the alternative? So I have my audio. Are you, and we can also just use the audio. We could make this just an online only one and not like an actual podcast.
Can we extract the audio from the YouTube video?
We could. It's not going to be great audio, but we could.
Yeah. I don't know when it kicked out. I just noticed it's off.
Boy, let me just like buy you an extension cord.
Just buy an extension cord.
I'll buy you a fucking extension cord.
The battery should not have died like this. Well, that sucks.
That's okay. Don't let it knock you off your game. We're doing great here. Let's. What were we talking about? Oh, that it's a generational movement. Yeah, that millennials and Zoomers realize that they'll never own property, and yeah, and also we're fucking pissed, and also we've been on social media, like we know what is up. And the real point that I wanted to make here is that, like, as I was marching in Long Beach, I noticed a lot of white people out on their balconies, like looking down at people, and it was mostly old white people, and they were mostly filming, and they looked concerned. And some people appeared to be allies. It's really hard to tell. And so if you're a white person standing on the side of the street watching protests, make sure that you show people that you're an ally. Otherwise, we're just going to assume that you're a fucking racist, terrible person and just start doxing you on social media. So, yeah.
Do you want me to try and I have new batteries. Do you want me to try and put freshies and we can record some more? Or do you want to just do YouTube?
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
Would it be hard to line up?
I could figure it out.
Okay, hold on. I'll be right back.
All right, you go get more batteries.
Because the only thing I can think of to talk about left is the black tile.
Yeah, I think we could just like wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it and use this audio.
And we could also start off with good audio and then do the second half with the YouTube audio. Yeah. That's a good fix because most people fall off anyways. Most people don't listen all the way through.
That's true. Most people don't listen to the whole show. So, oh well, I'll fix that for next time. I'll be more careful.
Yeah.
Wrapping up points. Stay safe. The name of the game, my friends, is solidarity. The name of the game is solidarity. Yes. Take care of yourself. Take care of your comrades. Take care of the other people out there. Take care of the people in your life. It's our only hope. All we have is numbers.
Yeah,
they have all the money. They have all the weapons. They have all the power. All we have is numbers. Exactly.
And if you have the patience and the strength to try and convert people to the right side of history, like, please do it. Because I only have strength to say fuck you at this point.
Yeah. Love and solidarity forever from us. Stay safe out there.
Yeah.
And stay trashy.
Stay safe and stay trashy.